Hello, here's the Eden Plot by Paul G. Brett, Chapter 2, The Dew of New Birth. I hope I read this well. Turning back to the beginning again, I settled down to read what Acton had written. He had divided it into sections, each headed with a date, and it seemed to have been written very recently, as if specifically for my eyes alone. I was at once intrigued and lost all sense of time. The Eden Bottom story begins some 15 months ago. For convenience, I shall organize it under the months in which the main developments occurred. The conversations I had remain vividly in my memory, though I have embellished them in some places, but not in any way that might give a false impression of what took place. September. The holiday period was over, and the diocesan office staff had begun to wake up again after a period of inactivity. They had been weeding files and bringing mailing lists up to date, and visiting other departments to inquire about minor matters. A phone call could easily have resolved. It was a curious fact that the attractive secretaries in the office seemed to receive far more visits of this nature than those of lesser appeal. He's right there, I thought, glancing at the photograph of Ellen on the table beside me. I had been looking for an opportunity to explore the multitude of boxes of paper in the attic at the office, and one now presented itself to me. I decided to ask Northwood to make an inventory of whatever he could find up there and bring it to me for examination. He was a bright chap with good A-levels, with quite remarkable grades in fact, and he had just begun work with us as part of a gap year before going up to university. I had found it difficult to think of suitable things for him to do. He was too quick, and this tended to undermine the morale of the others. They seemed threatened by his sharp eye. I think they expected a more pedestrian existence in a job with the church. But the attics, now there was a challenge. It would keep him out of sight and give him work to do that would otherwise never get done. So I called in, and Victoria, my secretary, and told them what I had in mind. She was rather older than he was, the sort of mousy girl who came to work on time every day and did what she was told, and I thought she'd be a good influence on him. Anyway, we went up the stairs together, unlocked the door, and came upon the boxes and filing cabinets, stored up there and filled with what we optimistically called the archives. I left them to it and retreated down the stairs, brushing the dust off my clothes. It didn't do to spoil my new jacket and sports trousers. Making myself a cup of tea, I settled back into my chair and looked with apprehension at the latest financial projections provided by our finance board chairman. I heard nothing further from Northwood for some time, and noticed that Victoria was often out of her room too. I suppose that there was a lot to do up there, and gave it no further thought. Next page. 3 weeks later, I think it was about that length of time, they came to me with a list of the documents they had found, long forgotten most of them, and of little real value. They had prepared an extensive inventory, and Victoria had typed it neatly. They left the file with me, and I put it away at first in my bottom right-hand drawer for another day. October. When I eventually came to open the file, I noticed an entry headed Property and looked down the list of items. Some were familiar, for the diocese owned a number of parcels of glebe land, which produced a fairly feeble income for the clergy stipends fund. But one caught my eye. It was called Eden Bottom Wood. I did not recognize this name, and asked Northwood to bring me the box so that I could look through its contents. I soon found the file I was looking for. It contained a map printed on heavy cream paper, going brown at the edges, and a number of other documents. Unfolding it carefully, I saw a large area of woodland with a lake and several small fields, some 200 hectares in all. The accompanying papers revealed that this substantial plot of land had belonged to a Colonel Boy's Hall. According to his will, it was to go to his children and grandchildren, though in the absence of any such heirs, it was to pass to the diocesan bishop to be used at his entire discretion. Apparently he had died in 1944, aged 53 and unmarried, and so the wood had come to us. I was amazed. We had no knowledge of this place. I sent for the full list of glebe properties we administered, but could find no mention of Eden Bottom, nor indeed of anything like that name, nor of any holdings at all in that part of the country. The question of the ownership of the land, and indeed of the management of the area as a whole, merited further investigation. I asked Nordwood, our diocesan registrar, if he knew anything about it, but he could not lay his hand on anything related to the bequest. A will must have been proved, though it was during the war, and things may well have gone astray in those turbulent days. The bishop at the time must have been told of this generous gift, but no trace of any such thing could be found. The whole thing was a mystery. Without saying anything to Northwood or anyone else, I decided to visit the area and see for myself. I spent 2 days walking around, sitting in the village pub, the Rattlesnake, listening to local gossip and asking a number of obliquely phrased questions. The wood itself had the appearance of having grown or spread rather haphazardly, though some of it had clearly been coppiced in the past. The lake was rather murky and full of weeds, but the fields near the main road had been ploughed and were showing the first signs of some winter crop. I managed to find the farmer, who gave me an unfriendly welcome, no doubt thinking I was looking for genetically modified crops or some such nonsense, and when I asked who the landlord was for the part of this farm I was interested in, he proved very uncommunicative. I suspected that he knew, but was not telling, because he paid no rent for it and would not want to begin doing so. The villagers, however, were very ready to tell me about the importance of the wood for local walkers and bird watchers. I was told that there were crossbills and hawfinches there, and that ospreys sometimes flew over the lake, catching fish, which they would tear to pieces as they sat on the branch of a dead tree. They described this feat with barely concealed hostility towards me. In May there was a carpet of bluebells in parts of the wood, colonized by larches and oaks, and it was a popular venue on Sunday afternoons at that time of the year. There was also a rumoured pre-Saxon settlement, but no one knew exactly where it was. Returning home, I mulled over the situation for some weeks, and an ambitious plan began to form in my mind. We could do something with this. If no one else claimed it, there would be no challenge to us. I decided to go and see the bishop to acquaint him of this discovery and to inquire whether he had any wishes relating to its use. Coming up November. Hope you like that chapter. Please sub me.